We welcome you to the second floor of the Duncan Student Center alongside Ben Bailey making his triumphant return since freshman year. JJ Post, I'm Jacob Irons. So happy to have you with us. But let's talk about what is coming up next. It was a nightmare in Louisville for Notre Dame football. Then a big ranked opponent in USC comes to town in a heavily anticipated Saturday in South Bend. And we got free money for the taking. Our betting analysts in Ben and JJ dish out their best bets of Week 7 of college football. As we welcome you back inside to the second floor studio. Got our pink ties on for Breast Cancer Awareness, the second show in October. Always want to make sure we coordinated.
Yeah.
This is pretty solid, but someone who didn't coordinate was Notre Dame's football on Saturday.
It's good writing.
And it was great writing by me this week. They did not coordinate on offense very well. It was one of the tougher points, but let's talk about this here, JJ and Ben. What do you think Notre Dame needs to improve on? And it wasn't the showing you would have wanted in Louisville.
Yeah, so I think Mitchell Evans perfectly encapsulated that last weekend in Louisville. In his presser this Tuesday, he said, to be honest, it sucked. And I think that's just like the mantra, leave it at that and move on. One thing that really stood out to me, and not in the best way, honestly, was the miscues in the secondary and some of the play that we had in the secondary. You saw it on some of the longer runs. And honestly, in here, you see in man coverage on the right side, Jamari Thrash juke out Ben Morrison in the end zone for their first score. And then this is in zone defense. Look at the middle of the secondary right here. Boom. No defender within a 10-yard radius. And then right before half, you know, Louisville chipping into field goal range more and more, letting them go to the sideline when you know that's what they want. You know, miscues in the secondary, and just those little mistakes started to build up, and that's, you know, leading to the final score that we saw.
JJ, there was a lot there, but you can look at the offensive they got to try and get something going, especially with this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, the defense was, I'd say, serviceable, if not at their best on last Saturday. The offense was at their worst. In the words of one famous Met commentator, they were putrid, pathetic, and feeble. It just, nothing got going for this team. You know, you look at the run game. In previous games, they kind of used Audric Estime to brute force their way into games. If opposing teams wouldn't respect the pass game, then Audric Estime would make them respect the pass game. That didn't happen. Louisville stacked the box. Estime didn't get any help from his offensive line. The guards weren't working. There was that bizarre offensive line rotation in the first half. That didn't work. They just didn't have any answers for the Louisville front seven. And when you're not winning the trenches, you're certainly not winning the deep ball. Notre Dame knew Sam Hartman coming into the season would be a very good player, a force multiplier for the receiver room, someone who makes the receivers around him better. But against Louisville, Notre Dame's two best receivers were a tight end and a walk-on lacrosse player. And all credit Jordan Faison. I think he is going to be a very important part of this team moving forward. But Notre Dame just at the moment is not getting enough out of their scholarship receivers, which are going to be the guys Notre Dame needs to move this team forward and to win games like USC. And, you know, we're going to talk later about matching the USC offense. You know they're going to be high-powered. You know they're going to bring weapons.
It's like this is the tempo you need to run to have your team hold a shot.
Except they're able to do it against Tennessee State. And as of right now, against Ohio State, against Duke, against Louisville, Notre Dame's had 3 opportunities in primetime to showcase they can make that offense go against a top 50 defense, not even a top 21, a top 50 defense, and make it work, and they failed all 3 times. You know, they had moments against Duke where it looked like they could find some rhythm. They had moments against Ohio State, particularly in the fourth quarter, where it looked like they could have that rhythm. Louisville was a 60-minute misfire, and that cannot happen for even 15 against USC.
Ben, I know you have a couple specific points that you want to look at for this offense and how they can take that step forward coming into this weekend.
Right, exactly. And you know The Blind Side, that one movie, when the scene where the wife calls down to the coach on the side and is like, run the dang ball. That's what we want this weekend. And as silly as it sounds, it's true. And if you want to do it, you're going to want to do it against USC. They're currently ranked 90th in total rushing defense. You know, let Audric cook. It's like who he is. And we see it right here. This is what we can do in the red zone. And it's really good against USC because USC is a bottom 10 team in the nation in red zone D. And if we just stay on the ground, run it out, Audric's going to feast, and I think that ultimately wins to, you know, getting us back in the win column.
Yeah, that is going to be your best bet, is on that run game. Yeah. However, you can't have a run game and go to it if you're only averaging 4 yards per carry.
Yeah, I think the consensus is that there's 2 ways to be an effective offense. You either need to be a big play team, someone that can consistently hit 60-yard plays, 40-yard plays that will break the game open.
Is that USC you think right now?
I don't know if I'd say it's USC, but until they played Notre Dame, it was Louisville.
Got it.
Against Notre Dame, they played a much more complete game. But you can either be a big play team, someone that can consistently hit these game-bringing plays, or you can be a team that's consistently ahead of the sticks. You move the ball efficiently. That's 5-yard first down runs, get yourself into second and manageable. Notre Dame, for the first 3 weeks, looked like they could maybe be that offense, a team that just beats teams with their their efficiency, they keep the ball moving on the ground, they stay ahead of the sticks, they control possession. These are the marks of a team that's maybe not an elite offense, but certainly a serviceable one. Against Duke, against Louisville, against Ohio State, they didn't show those marks. They looked like a team that couldn't win first down, and that when you win first down, you put yourself in a worse position for second and third down. It goes so on and so forth. You can't win these games unless you're starting the ball off on the ground. Like Ben said, you got to win 4 yards on first down. You can't be consistently setting yourselves up for second and 8, third and 9 when you're a team like Notre Dame where you know you don't have the facilities to get down the field and really unleash the deep ball.
Yeah, and when you talk about this, you also have a big matchups in the upcoming weeks for both soccer teams. Our own Tyler Reedy talk about their matchups on the pitch.
Well, Notre Dame football, not the only Fighting Irish team with a big game coming up during fall break. The Notre Dame men's and women's soccer teams both rank inside the top 15 nationally and have some stiff competition coming up as they continue to compete among the ACC's best in 2023. The Irishmen are currently in control of their own destiny for a regular season ACC title, while the Notre Dame women's team is looking for a college cup run after coming up just a game short in the Elite Eight last season.
The 8th-ranked men's team, currently 8-1-3 and unbeaten in 6 consecutive matches, earned its biggest win of the season last Saturday. The Irish topped a ranked Coastal Division foe in Duke 1-0 on a stunning goal from graduate midfielder Ethan O'Brien. Overcoming injuries that wiped out his 2022, the co-captain has played 6 games this year, already making a massive impact. Notre Dame also has home ACC wins over Clemson and Virginia, as well as a scoreless draw at then number 4 Akron. Senior goalkeeper Brian Dowd made 12 saves in that match and has been the conference's top netminder all year long. Dowd has helped the Irish extend their unbeaten streak to 28 games when scoring first. Up front, the three-headed monster of Matthew Rue, Eno Ento, and KK Bafour has pushed Notre Dame's attack to the next level. Rue leads with 7 goals, while Ento sports 5, and Bafour has dished out a team-high 4 assists. Off to their best ACC start in program history, the Irish currently lead the Coastal Division by 5 points. Notre Dame can clinch the number 1 seed for the conference tournament by not losing any of its final 3 ACC games. Meanwhile, the women's side had a tough go Thursday night in Tallahassee, but despite the 4-1 loss to national number 1 Florida State, the Irish still rank 11th in the nation and sit 2nd in the ACC standings. Since a surprising early September loss to Michigan, Notre Dame went over a month without losing. In 4 of their 5 ACC victories, the Irish won by multiple goals, while also stealing a 2-1 victory at Duke on September 21st. The Irish attack, which scored 7 goals Sunday against Miami, thrives on balanced contributions. 7 different players have double-digit points, with 6 of them having scored at least 4 goals. The one who hasn't, sophomore midfielder Leah Klenke, paces the ACC with 9 assists. Heading into the FSU match, senior forward Ellie Osbeck earned ACC Player of the Week honors. She's tied with graduate mid Kiki Van Zanten for the team lead in points. And around them, head coach Nate Norman's decision to move Maddie Mercado to center mid and Christina Lynch to forward has paid off. The 2 grad students have each scored 6 goals, heating up especially since ACC play began.
The Notre Dame men's soccer team begins a 3-game road trip Friday at Virginia Tech. Notre Dame will then head up north to Michigan for a Tuesday night match before that ACC showdown next Friday night in Winston-Salem at Wake Forest. Meanwhile, the women's team continues its 3-game trip at North Carolina in a postseason rematch next Thursday before visiting NC State on October 22nd. For Shamrock Sports, I'm Tyler Reedy, now sending it back to the studio for more.
Thank you, Tyler. We appreciate that in-depth reporting on both soccer teams doing very well so far in their year, but also another team that's trying to step forward is the football team like we've talked about, and they're going to go up against a very high-potent Caleb Williams, and this is a conversation of, we talked about it in our production meeting, JJ, this offense is going to score points. There's no doubt about it, but can Notre Dame's offense be able to challenge that with the same offense USC has?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to the guard play, which is the weird thing about when we talk about scoring offense. You don't usually think offensive line, but I think that's the key here. We know Joe Alt on the end will be a bookend. You know he's basically going to be perfect because for his entire 3 years he's played at Notre Dame, or 2.5 years played at Notre Dame, he's been just about perfect. He's got a near perfect PFF grade. I don't think he's allowed a sack in his entire time. You know he's going to be great. The question is on the interior, who's going to step up? We saw Coach Freeman talk about it after the Louisville game. You know, the guards just weren't good enough, and they tried to do some rotations with it. He mentioned Pat Coogan wasn't fully healthy, I believe, for that game. He hadn't practiced all week. And Pat Coogan's going to need a guy, along with Rocco Spindler, that's going to need to step up against USC. Yeah. USC's defensive front is not going to be this havoc-wrecking unit that's going to be in the Notre Dame backfield at all times. But they're going to need to be one that stops the Notre Dame run game for USC to win this game. Notre Dame can open up the run game. It's going to need to be through their guards because they like to pull those guards. They like to do some fun stuff with that offensive line and get them out into space. Do some creative things with that line. If they can't even get the basics done, they're not going to be able to open up the book. They're not going to be able to be creative. And if Notre Dame's not creative in the run game, they're going to be just doing the same thing against Louisville, which is just pounding and pounding and pounding, waiting for a breakthrough that just doesn't come.
Yeah. Ben?
Yeah, so JJ, you took the offensive shift of, can we hang with USC? I'm going to take the defensive shift and say, I think it's going to be hard. Especially we're looking at the tail end of a 4-game streak against top 25 opponents. Fatigue is going to set in, exhaustion, and just it's going to catch up to you. And I think that's especially hard against Caleb Williams in this USC offense because he's really, really good at those second option plays. But I'm honestly more worried about Brendan Rice. Watch this long bomb by Caleb Williams. But then look at Rice all the way down the field, yards of separation against his defender, and for the touchdown. And when we look at here, on a screen pass, beats the 2 initial defenders, gets to the pylon. The defender takes a poor angle on the run to the pylon, but that's going to be hard keeping up with those long bombs.
Playmakers in space, baby. That's the most dangerous term in football.
It is very dangerous. But now let's talk about the Heisman, the most appropriate award that Caleb Williams has. Before the catastrophe in USC and Louisville, you could talk about there was going to be potentially 3 Heisman candidates, but estimates fell off. Hartman looks serviceable, like you always like to say. Is Williams the Heisman candidate right now, Ben?
So I love what I've been seeing out of him this season, but I think it's actually going to be his counterpart in Washington, so we'll stay in the same conference for the second year, just won't be with USC. I like Michael Penix's long ball. Okay. I think in his accuracy is something that really separates him, but that is absolutely no dig at Caleb Williams. We see here against Michigan State, see just wide open. He creates those opportunities for his receivers and lets them get open. And some of the throws we've seen throughout this season have been just unbelievable. I don't care who you're playing, that amount of space is that amount of space. But for Caleb Williams, it's really those broken plays that kind of stand out to me and really put him into that Heisman conversation. I just think he'll fall a little bit short.
Yeah, I'd love to embrace debate and disagree with you, Ben. I'm not going to. Michael Penix Jr. is my pick for the Heisman as well. This Washington offense is electric. They are, I'd say, the best passing offense in football right now. And the trigger man for that team is Michael Penix Jr. USC, and this is no fault of Caleb's. He enters with the burden of being the defending Heisman winner, meaning the expectation is that much higher. People want to see him improve after, remarkable season in its own right. He's going to be the #1 overall pick in the draft this year, and that's going to be well-deserved. But when you win the Heisman last year, people expect you to, somehow improve on that to win the Heisman again. I don't think there's a lot of evidence. I think there's maybe a little evidence that he's improved, but I don't think it's been enough to really convince voters we need to go back-to-back. The precedent for going back-to-back on the Heisman Award is near non-existent in modern history. Penix Jr., he's not a new face on the block. He was good last year, but he's really taken a step forward this year. I think this Washington offense is going to excite a lot of people. It's on the Pac-12 network. It's after dark, so it's not hard to watch. But if you like football, you need to be watching this Washington team because they are fun to watch.
It will be fun to watch indeed. We'll talk about maybe that matchup, maybe the best matchup there is on this week 7. On the other side, this is Shamrock Sports on NDTV.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to ND Sunrise.
This is the
review of the Keenan Review.
That's right, we've got a big game in Sin City.
Plot twist, I am the Grim Reaper.
Overall, this year's event was a rousing success.
Would Notre Dame be the first one to accept ASL as a foreign language as a department?
Once again, I'm Elena Morgan from ND Sunrise, signing off.
Welcome you to the second floor of the Duncan Student Center, back again with Ben Bailey and JJ Post. It is now time to open the chat books. We're starting right, and let's go. I'm going to start with us. I've got a big game. I'd mentioned it in our tease. Give me Oregon. I think this defense for Washington is not that it's all cracked up to be. I think this Oregon team with Bo Nix looks like the real deal right now. Give me them. They're +3. I know, once again, we're in Washington. No way, Jose. Give me the Ducks. We're quacking. We're quacking. We're quacking. Give me them. I'm taking them to cover. +3. Over to you, sir.
But Jake, are ducks a flightless bird?
No, they can fly.
Have you seen the video going viral on?
No, I don't care about that. I don't care.
Ducks are not flightless. They will fly.
They will
this
fly.
week, in your
they
opinion.
Will fly.
I don't know. I'm still on the Penix train until proven otherwise. But
They
Bo
will
Nix
fly.
is having fun. That being said, my pick this week is not one we're going to overthink.
I like this.
Duke and North Carolina State play this Saturday. Guys, we've seen both these teams play. Which team frightened you more as a Notre Dame fan? The one that we pulled away from in the fourth quarter and won by multiple scores, or the one that very nearly beat us until Audric Estime turned into the running back we know him to be? This Duke team is stingy. They're led by Mike Elko, who I think every Notre Dame fan knows and thinks fondly of. That defense is going to be great. The offense under the new quarterback, so that's maybe the reason the lines have shifted. It's not Riley Leonard anymore. I think the offense will find its rhythm. I trust Mike Elko and his offensive coordinator to really think up a good game plan to work around the Leonard absence. I think Duke keeps the momentum rolling. I think their defense helps them win this game. I like the -3.
-3. Now, we all had our production meeting. You have maybe the better pick out of our two.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to a different bird. It doesn't quack, but it does fly. And I'm going to go with the Cardinals of Louisville. I'm sorry. I know it's a touchy
sensitive
subject.
subject.
That is so sore, Ben.
They're a good team, man.
Yeah.
But they are currently the 7.5. They actually might move up to 7. I don't know what Vegas knows that we don't. But they are favorites by 1 touchdown over the 1-4 Pitt Panthers. And it's honestly the tale of
No longer led by Phil Jurkovec.
No. Hey, don't worry. That's tight end Phil Jurkovec.
Yes, exactly. So what we have is two ends of the spectrum in college football. We see here, Pitt, kind of an uninspiring offense, as flat as you can be. We see it especially in the run game, and that's good for Louisville because they have a very strong brick wall of a defensive line. And then you see here, Louisville, one of the hottest teams in the country. They have all the momentum after beating Notre Dame. 14. They have an ACC championship appearance, the first potential one in school history on the line. I don't see them taking the foot off the gas anytime soon. And, why stop against Pitt?
Why stop? Why stop? I think that's a good one. But let's talk about our prediction. Let's take a look at that leaderboard and how it shakes up within our staff, because there's some shaking and moving after this Louisville game. No one really moved, actually. No one picked the flightless bird of the Cardinals to move. Tyler Eady still holds a 3-point lead over the other sophomores right now. But McGinnis coming up the clutch, and Elise Dahoney picking up 2 points as well. But now let's take a look at our staff picks ahead of this weekend. We've got alumni on there. Kelly Gorman and Kieran Cantwell in town for Alumni Weekend for NDTV. And now let's take a look at our scoreboards ourselves, guys. I think this game, I'm sad to say it, I'm a pessimist. I have picked Notre Dame a very handful of times. I am not picking them this weekend. Give me USC. I think this game is done and over with. The momentum is not there. We talked about them being tired, Ben. They are already tired. 35-14. I think the weather is going to keep it under 60 points, which is the over-under. If you want to do a second bet, that's going to be Jake's bonus bet. Trademark it. Give me that right now, under USC.
Yeah, I got USC coming into South Bend, unfortunately taking the win. I agree with you, that tail end of a 4-game streak, it's hard to really top, especially against Caleb Williams with all his energy and his quickness. And, thinking about the rain, what might happen inside the stadium, you saw it during the week, the USC coaching staff using their little hose to get prepared for the rain. I think that's not enough for the rain, but I think it's enough for the win.
Post quickly.
Yeah, I think we all know where this is going to go. I'll steal a line from Clemson last year, a win Notre Dame will no doubt be looking to recreate. The numbers tell me to pick USC. My brain tells me to pick USC, but my green suit, which I changed, told me we're going headgear pick. We're picking the Irish. This might be my last show as a senior, and I sure as heck am not picking Notre Dame to lose the game. Give me Notre Dame 38-35. Go Irish, and I hope I'll see you all with a win after fall break.
Should be a good one. We hope you all enjoy your fall break. For our fabulous alumni that are in town and for all of us at Shamrock Sports, I'm Jacob Irons saying so long from the second floor. Go Irish.